One of the critical benefits of in-house semiconductor chip design and manufacturing is the ability to control the entire production process. It ensures that the chip's quality is consistent and meets the required specifications. In addition, it allows for greater flexibility in responding to changing market demands and technological advancements. Semiconductor companies with in-house chip design and manufacturing capabilities can also innovate faster and thus can stay ahead of the competition. Another advantage of in-house chip design and manufacturing is maintaining the confidentiality of proprietary information. Semiconductor companies invest millions of dollars in research and development to create new chip designs and manufacturing processes. By keeping the production process in-house, these companies can better control IP protection. On another side, the financial viability of in-house chip design and manufacturing largely depends on the scale of production, the cost of equipment and materials, and the efficiencies of the production process. For large semiconductor companies that produce millions of chips per year, in-house manufacturing can be financially viable due to economies of scale. These companies can spread the cost of equipment and materials across many chips, resulting in lower per-unit costs and higher profit margins. However, for smaller companies or startups, in-house manufacturing may not be financially viable due to the high cost of equipment and materials, as well as the need to hire and train personnel with specialized skills. These companies may opt to outsource their chip manufacturing to third-party foundries specializing in chip fabrication, which can be more cost-effective. Nevertheless, by investing in in-house chip design and manufacturing, companies can gain a competitive edge in their industries and stay ahead of technological advancements.